Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We are in week 3 of our Faith in Action series. Today, talking about the light of will and imagination with Rev Deborah, meditation with Rev James, and we're going to sing about how you are welcome here.
That's right, in the right place, in the right time, just where you are meant to be. Let's sing about it. Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul. is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. All souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. You know that your soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Come on, let's get your hands up. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome.
Let there be light.
All right, if you didn't know it before, you know it now. Your soul is welcome here. There's a certain exuberance this morning. Reverend Deborah, good to see you today.
And good to see you, Reverend James. Honored to share the platform with you this morning. And we greet you in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred. And then the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, and the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. If this is your very first time with us, whether you are watching us online or here with us in person, we especially want to welcome you, because we know that you are not here by accident. We know that every single one of us is here by divine appointment. And of course, we're just always very excited to get together on Sundays. And the excitement continues when you silence your electronic devices, and please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Well, let us take this moment to commune with the presence. Simply remembering who and what we really are. Remembering from which we have come. For all of us come from that one presence, that one power, that one source that underlies all of reality. And this presence is known by so many different names, but we may call it God or the Atman presence, the Buddhic field. But it's closer than breathing, it's nearer than our neckline, as it says in another tradition. And we bring forth these qualities into our own life. The qualities of this presence of peace and love and joy and wisdom and harmony. The qualities we'll discuss today of will and imagination. And all of the powers that dwell within each and every one of us. And as we make these powers the activity of our awareness, through our thoughts, our words, and our actions, we begin to anchor the fullness of the presence of God in our own lives. So we're grateful to be the vessels of vehicles of this presence. And the more that we are, the more we can say that when you see me, you see the exact same thing of the presence and the qualities of it. So we're grateful to go forth, doing our part to anchor a little bit more of the expanding good, also known as heaven, in our life and in our world. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose here at Spiritual Life Center as reflected in our mission statement. And I invite you and anyone at home that may be watching or wherever you may be on the planet to simply affirm it with us. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we carry out these 5 basic universal principles and make them the activity of our awareness, our consciousness. So again, let us affirm them together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action.
And there's lots of action happening over in the chapel where the silent auction items are on display. Have you been over to see them yet?
Yeah, check it out if you haven't.
So the events committee has extended the silent auction until next Sunday, the 23rd at 1 p.m. So that gives you ample time to go and look at them, either if you're here in person, or you can go onto our website, and there are photos and descriptions of every single of the 33 items that are available for the auction. And also be sure to check out our Tower of Wine raffle, which features, I know, you wait until after we're done, okay? 21 wines from around the world. And we know we have lots going on, but we have ways for you to bid and maybe pay in installments before the end of the year. So for more details, go online or find Elaine Laroa out in the courtyard, and she will be happy to help you.
And at this point, I'm going to invite Paula to come forward. She's going to talk about why you should come to the cabaret, oh chum. Come to the cabaret.
And why should you come? Because you are going to be delighted and maybe spooked a little bit, and definitely very spooky. Oh, very spooky. And this time there's going to be a bit of humor coming out too. So the folks that are going to be in the cabaret this time are stirring up a lot of fun things. There are going to be some of the people you saw last time. Some new people have come forward. It's going to be so much fun. It is Friday night, October 28th. There'll be a reception in the courtyard at 6 o'clock and the program 7 to 9. So please be sure to go online or in the hub and register, because it's sure to sell out and you don't want to miss out on this fun. So we'll see you there.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, me. I want to let you know on November the 5th, the Spiritual Life Center is going to host the National Hindu Exhibit. And this exhibit is very special. It's a national traveling exhibit, and we're honored to have it come to us here at Spiritual Life Center. We're going to send out flyers to all of our congregation and the entire Sacramento region, as well as the interfaith leaders and our communities. Understand that the word darshana is a Sanskrit word that means viewing the sacred. So this entire exhibit consists of 24 panels on all aspects of Hindu culture, history, religion, and contributions to society. Approximately 20 panels will be brought on to be on display here at Spiritual Life Center. The exhibit has already traveled to many major cities throughout the United States, so we're blessed to be one of the places that will come to here in Sacramento. So we'll be there on November 5th, and it's going to be at between 1 and 4 p.m.
That's going to be really great.
Yeah.
And so, Reverend James, I know we agreed not to do a center update.
Yeah.
I lied to you. So, Reverend James came to us in October of 2012. This is his 10th year with us.
So, they surprised me the first service. They had a big cake. Now, the first cake was all eaten up by the first service, so we had to go out and get another cake for everybody else. There's a little piece left? There's another cake? Okay. But I have to tell you that also, during the service, someone, the little birdie told me it was Elaine, fixed up my office with all of these flowers and stuff in there, and I was just so... they surprised me in the first service. Then I got surprised again when I went by my office. So it's actually worth going by because this is an exhibit. So thank you. Thank you very much.
And Jane, just thank you for your love and your spiritual guidance. And I want to thank you personally for all the opportunities you've given me to grow in this position. So thank you.
Thank you for being here.
And remember, we have many activities, including, we're going to bless you. I'm sorry, let's all stand and do the blessing. got all carried away here. No. Okay. Reverend James, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold God's love as you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, we have many activities, including weekly small groups that you can discover all the happenings at SLC by going online to our website, or of course, if you're here, you can go to the courtyard. There's a bulletin board, and there's the lovely ladies at the hub that you can chat with and find out everything you want to know about this place.
And at this time, if any of our board members are here at this service, or any of our prayer chaplains are present, we invite them to please stand. And our chaplains are wearing the white stoles. And oftentimes we all have things that we go through or challenges that we're facing. So if you need some prayer support, they're willing to pray with you immediately after the service in the courtyard. And we thank them for holding the high watch for our community, not only on Sundays, but throughout the week. And thank you very much, chaplains, for your consciousness and all you do for our community. And our board members do a number of things behind the scenes that oftentimes folks do not see to help this community stay viable and to move forward and to thrive. So we thank them for their time, their talent, and the skills that they present to us. And if you have any particular questions you'd like to ask of our board members, they're willing to answer those questions to the best of their ability. But more importantly, we just thank them for their contribution to Spiritual Life Center. So thank you, board members.
And we love to welcome our newcomers, and in a moment we will ask you to raise your hand. But first we want you to know that there are many ways to become connected at Spiritual Life Center, and one of the ways to do that is to fill out the welcome card. Now that welcome card is available online. You can go to our website, fill it out and submit it, and we will get back to you. If you're here in person and raise your hand, we will bring you the card. You can fill it out, take it to the welcome table out in the courtyard, and there's a very special gift and a warm welcome for you.
So anyone here for the first time, we just invite you to raise your hand, keep your hand up nice and high. We'll give you that welcome card, and you can fill it out if you so desire. And we invite you to wear our purple ribbon and get that special Spiritual Life Center greeting. And if you're at home for the first time checking in on us, you can still wave to us. We'll feel your energy coming through to us and feel that presence of your acknowledgement, and we thank you, we affirm you. And there's someone back there to the left there that has her hand up. We thank her for her presence today, as we thank everyone that's here, because we remember that we're all magnificent expressions of the one presence, one power, one source of love itself, and we're the embodiment of it here to live it out to the highest and best that we can. So we acknowledge you. And now we'd like to acknowledge one another. Just go to a friend or someone that you know or don't know and greet them in a way that feels comfortable for you. Just say, you are marvelous and glad you are here.
All right, everybody. Are you ready for the Faith in Action song? Woo! It's a little late, but it's a good one, so just keep in mind. Who's got the power? I got the power. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let there be light, our light shining in the presence and power of Spirit in me. Let there be light, our light shining in the presence and power of Spirit in me. Let there be light, our light shining in the of spirit in me. Let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me by cosmic design. Audaciously fine, I align with my divine identity. So let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Oh, pure heart and mind, intentions refine. I align with my divine identity. Oh, let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Let there be light. Our light shining in the presence and power of spirit in me. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got the power. I got the power. Come on, let me see your hands. I got the power. Woo. I got the power. Oh, I got the power to live faithfully. I got the power to forgive and release. I got the power to breathe life to my dream. I got the power to create reality. I got the power to compare and contrast. I got the power to erase my hurtful past. I got the power to choose a direction. I got the power to question my perception. I got the power. I'm stronger than before. I got the power to step right through that open door. I got the power to honor our life. I got the power to be peace and harmonize. I got the power to break the chains of habit. I got the power to shimmer and dazzle. I got the power. So let there be light.
Another winning song from Paula Mandela for our Faith in Action. She just keeps coming up with them every year. My gosh. Well, as you know, if you've been part of our community for a while, that each year during this time we do a Faith in Action series based upon a text that we read together and base our lessons on Sunday on. And today we have artists, as we do every week, who give a pictorial representation of the topic for today. So we have two artists, and our first artist is Louise Vidori. Vidori. I always say vibe. Vidori. Is that Italian? No, it's what? Basque. Basque. Okay, so I should have known that. Vidori. It sounds like it should be Italian. Vidori. Anyway, this is what Louise wrote. Recently, a gentleman requested I create a personalized artwork for him. When interviewing him, I asked why he had chosen me to create for him. His response was he had seen an artwork of a bridge that I had created. He didn't remember the name, and when I quizzed him, it turned out to be the piece I am presenting this morning, Transformation Bridge. I then asked why Transformation Bridge? His response, I have never seen anything like it. It just came alive. It lit up. Of course, I love the compliment, but when I read chapter 3, the light of will, the power of choice, commitment, and willingness, it really set me to thinking. Choice. We all know we have free will to choose. Our choice sets in a shift in consciousness, according to the author Lina Martella-Whitsett. We catch hold of it. We sense its potential, and it sets us on a path toward fulfillment. But then we need commitment. Commitment becomes deliberate, intentional action, and wholehearted devotion to the path we have chosen. Discipline in honoring that commitment and harnessing our spiritual power. And willingness is the fuel of spiritual power. Willingness is the state of allowing. Allowing is our ability to cooperate with rather than control the flow of divine ideas according to the author. Allowing leads us to surrender to the greater good or God. I use the words interchangeably. A quote I read this morning before writing, I use my will to create the best possible life for myself and all others. When we do this, we become the transformation bridge. We just light up and we come alive in a special way. That's Louise Gadori, the light of will. And the second artist coming to the platform from our congregation is Mary Roberts. And her art is entitled, I guess, Imagination. And this is what Mary writes. Divine imagination is at the core of all inventions and curiosity. When the Divine Audacity book was chosen, I was issued a challenge and encouraged to do a painting for Faith in Action. I reluctantly agreed to try. This became the largest painting I've ever done. I started to read the book early, and imagination got my attention. It was 108 degrees out, and the fires had started to take off. This picture flowed into my mind. We can use divine imagination to address our water shortage. With this imagination, we can invent or discover ways for water to flow to California. I imagine rain pouring down and water being helpful. We can take our water shortages to divine imagination. We can address our rain shortages. We can have water. And that's Mary Roberts' pictorial representation, Imagination.
All right, let's take a nice deep breath together. As we settle into our chairs and drop into that heart space, let's speak aloud our vision statement, embody those words, and soul those words, and send them out into the universe. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. Now, please join in as we sing this beautiful chant. I am as God created me.
In the light, in the love, in the glory. And why don't we use that divine will and that imagination as we sing this song? Affirming that it is so for each and every one of us in this room, in Sacramento, in California, in the world, and the universes. Please join me in singing. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light.
in the light, in the love, and in the glory. We rest in those words now. And as we commune with the presence in this meditative moment, simply connect to the floor that you are standing on, or sitting on right now. And simply notice. Notice your connection to this presence. And with a long, slow breath that comes through your nose, lengthen the spine. And an equally long breath, breathe out, grounded once again. And as you sit and simply watch your breath, which is the foundation of life, draw a slight smile on your face and allow your body to bask in a sensation, in a feeling of joy, a feeling of happiness, regardless of what you may be going through, because this joy and happiness is a quality we can always tap into. Feel it, knowing you already have every happiness in this world and every cause of future happiness and joy. Right here, right now, the fullness of the Spirit of God is here. Right here and now, you feel content, knowing all your needs are met. And then with this felt sensation of how this joy and happiness and contentment feels in your body, imagine sending that same sensation to a particular person that comes to mind, or simply all beings on the planet right now. Then further imagine this particular person or all those beings on the planet feeling that same full-bodied joy and happiness and contentment that you feel in this moment. And from this sensation, allow yourself to feel as though you are also free from anything and everything other than this comfort and contentment of spirit. Breathe that in, feel it, and know that you are completely comforted and assured of this truth. Imagine now you, as you drop into the sensation of how good this feels, that you now wish that same for that person that's come to mind and for all beings on the planet. Let us imagine everyone everywhere is free from pain and suffering. and all causes of any pain or suffering. And as you send out this wish, feel the energy of that wish fulfilled coming back to you. As your happiness and your sending of happiness to others causes the happiness of others to return back to you. So see all beings in this state. Imagine our entire planet in this state. And as you imagine it, you feel it as well. This is God's will for us. And we joyously and gladly accept it. And do our part to manifest it in our world. And so it is. Amen.
I met God's will on a Halloween night. He was dressed as a bag of leaves. It hid the braces on his legs at first. His smile was as bright as the August sun when he looked at me. And as he struggled down the driveway, it almost made me hurt. Will don't walk too good. Will don't talk too good. He won't do the things that the other kids do in a neighborhood. I've been searching, wandering, thinking, lost and looking all my life. I've been wounded, jaded, loved and hated, wrestled wrong and right. He was a boy without a father and his mother's miracle. I've been reading, writing, praying, fighting. I guess I would be still. Yeah, that was until I knew God's will. Will's mom had to work 2 jobs. I'd watch him when she had to work late. And we all laughed like I haven't laughed since I don't know when. Hey Jude was his favorite song. At dinner he'd ask to pray. And then he'd pray for everybody in the world but him. I've been searching, wandering, thinking, lost and looking all my life. I've been wounded, jaded, loved and hated, wrestled wrong and right. He was a boy without a father and his mother's miracle. was just another gift. I never got the chance to tell her that her boy showed me the truth. In crayon red on notebook paper, he'd written me in God, love you. I've been searching, praying, wounded, jaded. I guess I would be still. Yeah, that was until I met God's will on a Halloween night. He was dressed as a bag of leaves.
Each way I turn, I meet God's will, divine will. Divine will is messy. Divine will is beautiful. I do not fear divine will. I do not resist divine will. When I meet divine will, I am safe. I am calm. I am sustained. I am supported. I am wise. I am known. When I meet divine will, I know God. I know mercy. I know grace. I know joy. I know peace. I know love. Every way I turn, I meet God's will, arms open wide. I choose to follow. I commit my heart. I am willing. God's will becomes my will. I follow my call. I am not alone. We are one when I meet God's will. Thank you, Anne, for bringing us that song and for your more than heartfelt rendering. So a couple of weeks ago, I received an email from Paula saying, and it was accompanied by a song, and she was saying she was thinking of using this song for today, and wanted to know if I'd be interested in adding a scripture or a poem at the end. Or maybe she suggested I could write a poem for it. Now understand that I don't write much poetry these days because poems are living entities that take over your life. Once one gets loose in my head, it won't leave me alone. I would like to say that poems are like puppies, all bouncy and joy and wanting to play. No. To me, a poem is like a cat that climbs up on your head and then headbutts you until you do what it wants. Feed it or play with it or write it down. And then once you cave in and you start and you get almost done, it goes under the bed and leaves you high and dry for the evening. Until 2 a.m., whereupon it bounces up and says, okay, now let's finish. Write me down. And then, once a poem is complete, it just sits there on the page and it's all smug and self-satisfied. So no, Paula, I am not going through that. So much for willful restraint. Within an hour, an idea was pouncing on me, and there I was trying to translate it into words. And it didn't work. Now, partly that was because of my resistance, and partly it wasn't fitting with the song. So, okay, fine, I took a breath and let it go, and the actual poem started to come through. Now, the one that wasn't working was extremely appropriate to the situation, because it started, my will is restless, let's go for a walk. And then it went into the story of my will straining at the leash and breaking loose, causing havoc, trampling over people, knocking things over, being so very self-centered and not accomplishing anything. It occurred to me that this might be a message. So I set the intention not to fight the process of birthing the poem, and actually it came pretty quickly. And it was only just a little bit smug and self-satisfied when it was done. Does this sound exhausting? Of course it does. But it made me laugh, and this whole process gave me the opening to my talk. But look what happened. I was willful. I said no, I don't wanna. And then I softened. And then, when I engaged in the process, imagination blossomed. Will's an interesting attribute. We need will to activate our lives, to move around, to interact. But when it becomes too strong, we lose sight of our true selves and what really matters. I really like the way that Reverend Linda structured her book, by the way, giving three aspects, each one of the aspects, three other aspects. Because the whole point here is to help us recognize, understand, access, and engage these different abilities that we have. Now, not every power will appeal to every person, which is why it's really cool. There's 12 of them. And most likely, each of you will be drawn to just one or two, minor divine order and divine imagination. And this is good because really, honestly, trying to do all 12 at once, you'd just be so distracted, you would probably not get anything done. And besides, each power or attribute does exactly the same thing. It grounds you into your core, the real you. It gives you a tangible concept to reach for when you face challenges or just trying to accomplish something. A 12 powers practice is very practical, and it can be used by anyone of any religion, spiritual practice, or even in a sexual, oh my God, secular frame of reference. Note to self, do not use that word in your talks ever again. Okay, so let's get back to will. It's important that we realize the difference between willfulness and willingness. Think about willfulness. It means you are full of will, wanting to do it your own way or not do it at all. It's like, I want to do this. Okay, no, I don't want to now. Being full of will is blinding. You can't see any other way to do something or any other way to interact with a person. Now, it's not that I was a willful child, but had I been, I would identify with all of this quite well. Standing there, digging your heels in, refusing to see any options or let someone tell you what else to do, refusing to listen to people or to God. But when I think about it, I also wonder how much of my personal willfulness, how much of it was pure willfulness? How much of it was me just not wanting to follow all of the rules for girls in the 50s and 60s? How much was my personal will and how much was my spiritual will guiding me to be more than my family saw for me or thought that I was capable of? I mean, I can be totally willful because I think we all can. We would all love to have our own way most of the time. But I have discovered, and probably you have too, that my personal will doesn't always have my best interest in mind. It just wants what it wants. And as I said, that just sort of blinds us. So this little fit of willfulness over not wanting to engage with a poem, it was silly. And when I backed off and said, okay, I'll give it a go, I made a choice to set my personal will down. And then once I started writing, I was committed to seeing it through. And so in that process, I became willing. Choice, commitment, and willingness. That's the order in which Reverend Linda presents the aspects of divine will. But as I went through this little episode, it seemed to me that on some level I needed a little bit of willingness to break out of my little self-will jail in the first place. And I mention this only as a reminder that nothing in spiritual practice is linear, and it doesn't show up in discrete little packages. Part of spiritual practice is to recognize that phases and seasons cycle through us, hourly, daily, weekly, just always. There's always this cycle. Spiritual practice is a process, not a destination. Some people don't want to hear that. But I'll say it again. Spiritual practice is a process, not a destination. And I use this little adventure with writing a poem as my example because it's simple. And most of us can relate to the little things in life that we resist when we want our own way. But we all know that life presents us with all sorts of situations through partners, jobs, children, work, and in fact, even our relationship with ourself. Sometimes that's where I get the most resistance in myself. Mary Roberts shared her own story of her reluctance about doing this painting. Her personal will saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not really a painter, I'm not really an artist. And that softened, and she finally gave way to imagining the painting she shared with us today. Now, hers wasn't silly. It was a very deep movement from I can't to yes, or maybe she did maybe first, then yes, then I can to I will, and then I did. It was an amazing process to watch. And we can all be willful or willing. We can be willful or willing. And as simple as that seems, this example shows how we get so wound up about seemingly the smallest things. I watched myself go from no to yes in a couple of hours. And other situations, of course, can be much more complicated and longer term, but honestly, the feelings are the same. It's just a matter of urgency and intensity. That poem says that divine will is messy yet beautiful. That beauty comes when you move out of personal will into spiritual or divine will. When you make the choice to cooperate, because that is when you open to the activity of imagination. If you're not in resistance, you're open to possibilities. Reverend Linda in the book says, imagination is our powerful capacity to picture what can be. We begin to feel the effects of imagination before it even becomes an idea in our heads. There is an impulse, a movement towards something. Even if you don't know what it is, you can kind of feel it. I know some of you have experienced this. Now, imagination is the portal through which we create our reality. And it is extremely powerful. And so the way we use our imagination is also very important. Now, Reverend Linda assigned the aspects of conception, vision, and embodiment to imagination. And so this is how I imagine that imagination works. In divine mind lies all potential. It's all, I don't know, I see this river running up here that I can't see. And potential is at a very high frequency and vibration. This potential is what we feel before we even get the actual idea. You might even say, I'm going to do the thing, and I'm not even sure what that thing is yet, but I'm going to do something. So pretend that the energy is up here in this river, and then something starts to come down into you, and energy comes into you, and you have a concept. And then it comes further in, and then you conceive and nurture that thought until it blossoms into a vision or a real idea. And then you work with it, and you feed it, and then you take action, and you do the things that you need to do to bring it forth. And then you embody that idea, that vision, and that's what comes into the world as the light that we are. Now, I want to take it aside for just a moment to say, when we talk about vision, most people think seeing pictures in your mind. There are people who do not see pictures in their mind. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with those people. They just experience the world differently, and they have another way. So if you're one of those people who kind of struggles through guided meditations, it's okay. Just do what you do. Sit there in the dark and enjoy it. That there is nothing wrong with people who don't see pictures in their heads. Imagination is very powerful, and it shapes everything in our lives. So imagination, just like will, needs to be cultivated, needs to be paid attention to. We really need to be aware of how we imagine, because a lot of it happens very unconsciously. It's like if you're going to have to drive somewhere, you might immediately envision what the traffic situation will be. It's going to be a parking lot out there, I just know it. You're imagining that because you don't know, right? Anything you're talking about, if you don't know, you're imagining it. But you can easily envision it as a true, free way of getting to your destination easily and gracefully. We imagine all the time, we can't help it, which is why there is so much emphasis on being present and mindfulness. Otherwise, we imagine ourselves into quandary after quandary. Look at how right use of imagination couples with right use of will. May we see the slide? Those kind of really work together. Choice and conception, I'm choosing, I get an idea, I commit, I bring it further, and willingness and embodiment. And when you choose, you're ready for conception. And when you make a choice or conception, vision comes, and embodiment flows out of willingness. But notice again that this is fluid. None of these aspects work in order, and they don't work alone. It can be very messy, yet beautiful if you give your spiritual self to the process. Thank you. All of the powers we will encounter during this 7-week period offer 2 modalities, the personal and the spiritual. Personal will has its place in our lives. It moves us through the world, but when it gets too personal, it gets in our way. And the same is true for imagination. Personal imagination has its place, but it can be limiting as well. Spiritual imagination will send you soaring. None of this is ever about eradicating our personal power. It's about discovering and learning to use, activate, and access the spiritual potential held within each one of us. By seeing an aspect as a power and naming it, we give ourselves markers to follow or to hold on to. Naming will as divine, naming imagination as divine, it takes us out of ourselves and allows us to choose, envision, embody the very best of who we are. Our divine powers are how God expresses through us. It's okay to have a little resistance in our lives. Sometimes that actually slows us down, helps us make better choices. Imagining the worst just comes naturally to people. So there's nothing wrong with those. We all know, but we also know that life is better and we're happier when we stay present and use our imaging skills to embody spirit and let our light shine. Draw on that, an amazing power that is within us. And that's why we're all here, to rediscover our inner light and shine it to the world. When we follow God's will, when we activate God's imagination, nothing can hold us back. Nothing, not even a bushel, can cover our light. And so, as the poem sort of said, when you know divine will and divine imagination, we are one. And so it is. And of course, each week during Faith in Action, we have an affirmation that goes along with our theme. So let's say this together. I am willing, I imagine, I am a living expression of the union of mind and heart. My light shines for all to see. And so it is.
Nation Rev. And next week, we're going to continue on with our Faith in Action series. And we're going to talk on the topic of zeal and power. So we're going to talk, I imagine that the light, the color is green, since it's got all that green up there. Okay. So if you want to go along with the colors, you can go with the green for next week. At this time, I'm going to invite those who may be watching online. First of all, thank you for your presence, no matter where you may be, no matter what time of day or night that you might be checking out this experience that we have at Spiritual Life Center. And if you'd like to support Spiritual Life Center with your own gift or offering, you can simply go to your phone and text SLC Love to 44321. Text for Spiritual Life Center at 44321. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, and give in other ways, including by mail. When you go on the website, just click the Donate tab, and it'll give you opportunities to support this community in different ways. And also, if you'd like to just spread the consciousness and what we're teaching and sharing with others, you can spread the word by clicking or liking or commenting or sharing wherever platform that you happen to be on at the time, and just simply spread the word of what we're doing here to others. For those who are present today, I invite you to take your gift or your love offering and just symbolically raise it to the heavens, which is ever-expanding good. And if you're already given in other ways, including by mail or electronic giving, know that you are in the flow of a principle that says that whatever you give out does come back to you, perhaps in ways you never imagined. And so let's imagine nothing but the highest and best for ourselves and this community. Let us embody this consciousness of giving and receiving as we affirm our offertory blessing together. And it goes as follows. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
There is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there's despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, ever joy. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
It's good to end on an exclamation point. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Right now, we bless those who have gifted Spiritual Life Center with their giving today, knowing that it's going to bless the giver as well as the receiver. And that all of us are here to support the opportunity for those who are open and receptive, those who have ears to hear and want to grow, develop, unfold to become the very best that they can be as expressions of the divine. And we're providing an opportunity at this community to do that. We also affirm and bless those who have left prayers in the prayer box today. For we recognize that all of us at some point or another have challenges in this thing called life. And there are times that we must turn over the challenge so that it's not our will, but the greater will of the Spirit of God can work through to help us grow, develop, and unfold. And we recognize and know when that happens, it's because the presence already knows the answer even before we know what the prayer need is. For as it says in that scriptural reference, before they call, I've already answered you. For the presence only knows the divine and perfect spiritual solutions, and we accept them today for those who have left those prayers and for ourselves as well. So we go forth knowing we are resting assured that the prayers answered. These prayers will go on to Silent Unity for an additional 30 days of prayer energy. And we know that it is done. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And so with that, we invite folks to join in as we affirm our prayer for protection and embody that as the truth of our being. Let us say that together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. I am, and all is well. And that's the truth. Let's sing our peace song. Peace and blessings to you. Have a great week.
Oh, yeah. You got to shine. Let's sing about it. Shine your light into the world.
your heart to change the world. Change the world. Shine a light into the world. You better shine, got to shine. Shine the light into the world. Shine the light into the world. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. One by one we'll plant the seed. Plant the seed. Wherever there's a need. There's a need. We are the very hands of love. Reaching out into the wide world. Shine the light into the world. You got to shine, got to shine. Yeah. Shine the light into the world. You shine the light into the world. Into the world. Let it shine. Let it shine. You got to let it shine. Let it shine. Hey, we reach a place in our human evolution. People getting ready for the little revolution. For every problem, we are the solution. And now is the time to put on your shine. Where is God in the midst of tragedy? But in the hearts and the hands of humanity. Enter the core